How about hypertension? Concerned about high blood pressure? 20 million people are on medication. 60% could be off these medications within weeks if we do something for ourselves, particularly cutting back on salt, eating more potassium-rich foods like vegetables and fruits, lose weight, excess weight, reduce atherosclerosis, stop smoking, eliminate alcohol, get into a walking program. When you do this, you have an 83% chance of being no longer in need of medication for high blood pressure. And as you know, high blood pressure medication has side effects. And then you have to take medication for the side effects. And before you know it, you're taking 5, 6 different medications, and you could have just done it in a few weeks by making some simple lifestyle changes. And you say, well, I don't like my food without salt. Well, you can have some salt. It's true, it's very difficult to change your taste for salt. Our diet is so salty, it's very difficult to eat a diet that is low in sodium, and you say, I'd rather die than eat this food. You know what happens? Within 2 to 3 weeks, your taste buds adjust, and you wouldn't know the difference. We can change our taste buds. We can change our taste sensations. Last, I want to talk to you about obesity. I want to show you what has happened in our society. Please note that those states here that have a light blue color, about less than 10% of the populations are obese. Those who have darker blue, 10 to 14% of the population has obesity. Now, 5 years later, look what happened here. 5 years later, look what happened here. 5 years later, look what happened here. 5 years later, more, look what happened now. Now you can see in these states, more than 25% of the people have severe obesity, all within a few years. And it always seems to happen here in the southeast, and then it travels over to the west coast. Obesity. Why? And yet again, the data is so strong that shows that for every extra pound that you carry, you give up about 1 month of life. Obesity is a killer, not only psychologically, but also in terms of how long we live. Many people shave off 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 years of lifespan just because of obesity. And obesity lays a foundation for heart disease, for cancer, for arthritis, and. And yet the answers are not really that difficult when you think about it. It has to do with the fact that you take in more calories than you put out. So many people say, well, okay, let's exercise more, and then we can eat more. It doesn't work that way, does it? You have a Krispy Kreme. You know those Krispy Kremes? That's about 400 calories. You have to walk 4 miles. That's 1 hour plus. Is it really worth it? And people say, yeah, sometimes it is. So we have to make some choices. The average consumption of sugar in our society, about 40, 45 teaspoons a day. Most of this sugar comes from soft drinks. Then you have to be concerned about the fat intake coming from processed foods. This is Pringles here, and we're not going to use the video here this time. You could have eaten 10 potatoes. Potatoes are not fattening. It's what you do with them. If you open up these potatoes, these baked potatoes, you open them up, you do some surgery there, open them up, and you now turn this into a literal graveyard. Yes, then indeed, you're hiding all this. What do you hide in these potatoes to make them really good? Sour cream and butter and margarine. And the potato only has about 100 calories, but you're into a 400 caloric bomb because you think you're improving on the potato, right? And so when you look at our diet, you begin to realize that 50% of the calories we eat have no nutritional value. They're loaded with sugar, fats and oils, and alcohol. No nutritional value. 50% of what we eat, no nutritional value. And people say, well, I take some supplements. That's not going to annul and cut out the calories. You have to process them. Furthermore, you have to be concerned about the amount of fat in general that we eat that comes particularly from animal sources. Like when you have bacon and sirloin steak, that's about 75% fat. 75% of that steak is fat. And you say, well, I trim it off as good as I can. Yes, so you get down to 65%. It's within those muscle layers that you cannot get at. Then you look at sausages, look at the wiener here, the American hot dog. It's a disaster. Then you look at the cheese, the 70% fat. Cheese is now banned in Great Britain. It's not allowed to be advertised on television because it's considered to be a junk food because of the obesity problem in children. So we need to do something about our empty calories. We have to do something about eating less animal products, and we should eat more fruits, grains, legumes, and vegetables. They're all very low in calories. Please note, when you eat these kind of foods here, they're all very high in fiber and roughage. So you feel full, as you see here, but you don't have that many calories. But if you don't have enough fiber, you have to fill your pouch with calories. You pack 4 cups of food in there. If that food is high in fat and sugar, you have lots of calories. If you have lots of fiber, you don't have too many calories. So we have to eat more foods as grown, and these are some of the foods that we recommend. You have lots of different kinds of beans and fruits and all kinds of fruits here, even mangoes and vegetables of all kinds. These are the kind of foods that have been overlooked. We have forgotten them. This is what we want to see being offered in restaurants. And then, of course, we want to do something about exercise and also, when necessary, attach ourselves to some professional services. So losing weight, in our CHIP program, the Coronary Health Improvement Project, where we have 50,000 participants, the average weight loss in 4 weeks is 7, 8, 9 pounds. And people say we have never eaten so much food in our lives, because obesity is not caused by overeating. Obesity is caused by not eating the right foods that are usually very low in fiber. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of encouragement. I wanted you to know that you can make some changes. And I have a very special friend that called me up. I didn't even know her then. She called me up a few months ago and she said, I want to thank you for saving my life. She called from Wisconsin. She said, I just spoke before the Senate of Wisconsin. She said, you have changed my life. You have changed my health. I just want to thank you. And I said, I haven't been in Wisconsin for a while. She said, no, but your program, the CHIP program, is running at the big hospital here in Appleton. I was so moved by her story that I said to my wife, I'm going to be with Dr. Shadle. I'm going to be with the hospital here. You think I should invite Verna to tell her story? My wife said, yes, do it. Inspire these people. She said, let them hear what can happen to people. One of 50,000. Verna, tell us what happened to you.
Thank you, Dr. Diehl. Because of Dr. Diehl's program, he has saved my life. It's such a pleasure and a joy to be here this evening and share with you about my story. There was this 84-year-old woman, and she goes out on a date with a 91-year-old man. When she comes home from her date, the daughter says, Mother, how was your date? And the mother goes, oh, I had to slap him 3 times. The daughter goes, but Mother, this was your first date with him. You had to slap him 3 times? Did he get fresh with you? The mother went, no, he didn't get fresh with me. I had to slap him 3 times to make sure he was still alive. And I tell you this story because basically that's where I was 4.5 years ago. I was running a flower shop, doing 5 to 7 weddings a weekend, putting in lots of long hours, eating on the run, and basically taking care of everybody else but me. And I found myself, I'd walk a few feet and I'd be gasping for air and I'd have to sit down. I couldn't make steps anymore. This was going on for a while, and from day to day I could feel the life ebbing out of me, and I knew I was dying. So I planned my funeral. I wrote a love letter to all my children. I have 6 children, to my grandchildren, and to my friends. A few days later, I was taken to Marshfield Hospital, which is basically the Mayo Clinic of Wisconsin. I walked into the room, and the cardiologist, without saying a word, pokes me in the chest and said to the nurse, "Get her in the hospital. She's filled with fluid."